basically, the expert in communication are saying that we need a good icebreaker every time we start. Okay. So basically, the expert in communication say that we need a good icebreaker every time we start the presentation. So I was thinking about which one can I select. That's my for you. This is, you can see in the screen on the right part. It's a survey carried out in Europe asking to the participants how they feel the impact in the climate change in Europe. And here you can see the answer. 50%, half of the population in Europe, do believe that the climate change is a national priority. And altogether in this room, we are coming from the red part. And you can see, for example, in my country, 67% of the person do believe that we need to create resilience, the magic word today, to face this problem in Europe. That's my plan for you. So let's go together in this journey. So basically, I have 6 points that I want to cover in 45 minutes, maybe less, because I want to have also times for interaction with you. So basically, I will start with setting a little bit the scene. So the role of agriculture in the climate change. And we will see that basically we have a double approach. We can be different way. Then, where we are now, the current situation in Europe. And then there is the magic question. What if? What if we don't do changes in agriculture? What is the future that is expecting? Then we move a little bit in plant physiology. We will look at the soil, the plant health, the quality traits impacted by the climate change. And then we are landing on the solution, the proposal from ICL. We will touch a little bit the technology, the biostimulant portfolio, and then we will complete the session with the ICL vision and our commitment for the future. Okay, so where we are, let's setting a little bit the scene. So agriculture cover 40% or the total European land and employs 22 million people directly. So basically the big part of the country responsible for this, the main part of Europe are France, Spain, United Kingdom, and Germany. If we add to this part Poland, Romania, and Italy, we are at around one third of the total hectares for Europe. Why Europe is important? Because 1/8 of the global cereals belongs to Europe. 2/3 of the global wine production is in Europe. Half of the global sugar beet production is here, and 3/4 also of the olive oil in Europe. So basically, the whole amount of Europe is 138 billion euro. Then, the climate change and agriculture. There is, I said before, there is an interesting relationship between the climate change and the economical implication. Agriculture can be a contributor or a victim, depending on which part of the story we are. And then this relationship between agriculture and the climate change can be viewed in a variety of trade-offs that agriculture production system faced during this climate change. Let's look now at agriculture as a contributor. You see that the growing evidence that on the climate change is that climate change belongs to anthropogenics, so belong to us. Greenhouse emissions are considered, and we know very well this, that is the major cause of the climate change. And agriculture is a part of this game because of the land use changing, largely deforestation, the cultivation, the transportation. So agriculture is contributing to the climate change, but it's also a victim. Especially, we are suffering the higher temperature, lower precipitation, and also climate change sometimes means higher precipitation that can be most of the time negative, because flooding may occur in some region. We know in our country we had several problems, but sometimes can be also positive in a specific part of the continent, especially because they are changing. Then the level of carbon oxide can be negative, because higher carbon oxide concentration can impact the transpiration and the plants, reducing stomatal openings, but can be also positive, especially with some crops in a different region of Europe. And we will see this later. But also can be a sort of hidden victim, the agriculture, because this climate change can also impact the soil, especially the soil microorganism. And we will see also this part later. And this is something that we have problems to see, but also to detect, because we are not talking about agronomical traits. So we see our plant, we see the fruits, we see the yield, but it's something that is hidden, but is impacting and has a memory in the soil for a long time. Where we are now. So basically, here you can see Europe is divided in 6 areas, and we belong in the yellow part on the top. And of course, the climate change are impacting now the precipitation, the temperature, and the atmospheric carbon oxide concentration. And we know this. This is impacting the precipitation, the risk of drought, the biodiversity loss. It's decreasing the crop yield, impacting the livestock, impacting also the change in the pest population. If we look now, I found this really interesting in the web, because that's the actual situation May 2025. And the key highlights. So there is a huge drought, especially across Central, Eastern, and Southern Europe and Eastern Mediterranean. March was the driest month ever recorded in Germany. The water in the river, in the Rhine, dropped 1.5 meters in April, usually half of the usual level. The soil moisture, it's a main problem, especially in some regions during the sowing time or the transplanting time. And there are anomalies in the temperature in the North Alps that is more than 3 degrees. And this is also impacting our way, the approach that we are growing the plants, and the way that we want to do business. Now the question is, what would life be if we had no courage to attempt anything? So if we continue growing, approaching agriculture, approaching the climate change in this way, how will be the future? There are official data coming from European that basically evaluate with a scientific method the impact on the climate change in agriculture. And basically there is this method, Peseta 4, that in 3 steps, adjusting regional climate model, estimate sectorial impact with the modeling, and also conducting some economical evaluation, arrive at a conclusion. And here you can see the conclusion. There are a cascade of impact, direct impact or indirect impact. And depending on the degrees of global warming that we are having, that could be 2 degrees or 1.5, the impact on our crops is completely different. And I found this model really interesting. Now, the plan is, let's go focusing on the main crops. We will talk about grain maize, then we will move on wheat, and then some orchards. And let's see how the cultivation, the plant metabolism can change if we are just increasing 1.5 degrees or just 2 degrees. Here you can see some really incredible data. The yield of corn can drop in the North Hemisphere, Europe, between 1 and 40%, and in the South to 22%, depending on the different impact of the climate change. If there are countries where that impact can be really crazy, 80% in Portugal and Spain. And here you can see, basically, starting on the top on the left, you can see, on the left part of the panel, you can see the yield decrease if it's 1.5 temperature, and on the right part is 2.3. So basically, there will be a significant yield in the southern Europe, up to 22%, and smaller impact in the north. Then it's completely different, the strategy, if you cannot support the irrigation on these. And there are countries where in rain-fed condition, we can also have 80% of the yield loss. Let's move to wheat now. Wheat is mostly not irrigated, apart some part in Spain. But basically, the loss of yield in the North Europe are between 5 to 60% expected, and in North sometimes is up to 49%. So it's really a tremendous scenario that we are waiting if we don't do nothing. Adaptation options. Irrigation could reverse losses, but we need feasibility analysis, and then also faster maturity varieties. We will see later. It's an option, but of course it's an option that we need time to develop. And here you can see the map changing the temperature between 1.5 and 2.5. You can see that there is a big impact on wheat production. Then let's go to the orchards. Here there is a study focusing in Spain, divided in 4. You are changing? Not changing, okay, sorry. Okay, dividing Spain in 4 main groups. The northern part of Spain, and this is not only Spain, you can easily take this model and adapt it to Italy, but I'm pretty sure that also in the north of Greece and other parts in Europe can follow this approach, because honestly, the plant physiology is exactly the same. So the way that plants are suffering this climate change is the same. So what is the result of this in Spain? In the northern part of the hemisphere, there is late spring frost, okay, especially during at the beginning of the bud break, but also during the most sensitive stage, that is flowering. Then in the south of part of Spain, in Castilla-La Mancha and Andalusia, there are extreme summer heat, and also there is drought stress. And this is leading to a significant water stress, and the final impact is declining the wine quality and the yield. So we need the adaptation of the variety, local variety. Again, it takes time. Mandatory irrigation, but water is a limited resources, and heat-tolerant grape varieties. There are implications also for the wine quality, because the heat stress can accelerate the ripening, reducing the acidity, and also altering the balance between acidity and sugar, and this affects the flavor, the aroma, and the aging potential. Water scarcity also can lead to smaller berries, higher skin to juice ratios, and impacting the tannin levels and the color. And the frost reduction in the north also may allow to the introduction of high quality variety grapes. Let's move now to another crop, an example. That's a study carried out in Italy. And here you can see that we know that olives is really important in our region. 75% of the global production is coming from this part of the continent. And you can see in the chart below, there is a change in infestation of Bactrochera oleae, the olive fruit flies, that is changing and is increasing year by year. Warmer winters, extreme weather accelerate this post-development and reduce the yield and the quality. So what we should do is monitoring the winter temperature and also try to helping farmers implement targeted pest management to minimize the loss. The last example, grape wine in France. This is another study that's really important. They divided the plant grow in 4 key crop stage: bud breaks, flowering, veraison, and maturity. Using the growing days, the methodology basically discovered that there is a shift that is 3-4 weeks between the natural harvest. And this early harvest can impact the plant, but also the quality of the wines, because we are reducing the sugar content, impacting especially the quality of the wines. Again, here, what we can do, trying to shift, to move from some variety that are resistant, but it's orchard. I mean, it takes time to develop the variety, and it takes time also to renew the vineyard. And then there is the hidden part, the soil, because usually we are looking at the plant, but we are not putting the attention on the focus. And here there is one part that I am really fascinating, that is the soil memory. What is the soil memory? The soil memory refers to the lasting effect of the past drought event that is impacting the soil properties and the plant performance. So if we have a drought stress and you try to recover with irrigation, but if the drought is so strong, the impact cannot be the same. And this is called soil memory and has a different layer. So there is the hydrological memory, that is reduced water retention in the topsoil. Then there is the biological memory, that is impacting the microbial community changes. The chemical memory, that is the salt accumulation and the pH shift. The structural memories, the compactation and the cracking of the soil. And then there is also the plant feedback, especially in orchards. So alterated root behavior due to the past event. Okay, this is really important, and honestly, there is a sort of not well attention on the soil, and the soil health is an heritage for the grower. Then, another example, water. How can we approach water management, depending on the crop. Basically, the crops are divided based for a different metabolism. Can be isohydric or anisohydric. And there is a big difference between these two categories because the plant can react to the drought stress with a different strategy. Okay, and if we know this, it's really important because we can support better the plant, but also detect, approach, and discover new tools that can be useful to mitigate the drought stress. Let's come back to the plant physiology. So basically, the isohydric behavior is that they close the stomatal openings. The target is to reduce water. Reduce weight is my target, and also try to declining the water availability. They want to keep the constant leaf water potential with this stomatal closing. Okay, and on the opposite, there is anisohydric behavior. So in this case, the plant allow the leaf water potential to drop significantly as soil become more scarce. So the stomatal remain open longer, allowing transpiration. It seems like the plant is betting that the future will be better. Okay? And here are some examples. So isohydric is wheat, barley, rice, soybean, potato, tomato. And anisohydric is maize, sorghum, olive, grape wines, not all the grape wine varieties. Some grape wines are this approach and other varieties have a different approach. But in essence, isohydric plants are conservative, prioritizing water conservation over continuous photosynthesis. Anisohydric plants are riskier. They prioritize photosynthesis on potential growth, even when water is limited, but not the risk of hydraulic damage. And, for example, if we try to apply a different strategy of the plant nutrition or a different strategy of biostimulant, it makes the difference if we know this approach. Because if you are closing the stomatal opening, maybe you need a specific biostimulant to boost the plant metabolism, but let's say maybe it's better to have a biostimulant in the soil. In the other case, if the plant is still active in the stomatal openings, it's good. You can apply the product in a foliar application. What's about the quality in general? Because so far we are just discussing about the yield, looking at the different yield degrees, changing the temperature. But we know that there are 8 main points where the climate change can impact the quality. And then here there are some points that, especially I was looking at the agenda today and tomorrow, especially in barley or other crops, can be really important to underline. So the rising CO2 level can reduce protein, zinc, iron concentration in cereals, especially in wheat and rice. And for example, in Turkey, there are professors working in this approach, trying to improve the level of zinc inside the wheat. Heat and drought stress can also alter vitamins, antioxidants in fruits and vegetables. Then there is quality that belongs to the grain and fruit sides. The climate change is impacting the flowering, the grain filling stage, reducing the kernel size in cereals and fruit sides. Then also inside the seeds, there is the starch content, and for example, this could be a good point for barley production, especially if you are producing beer, because there is like a sort of unwell balance between the starch and the protein. And the more protein you have, the less starch you have, you can have problems in the fermentation. Then there are problems with the taste. We already discussed about that, especially in grapes, but also in apple as well. And then the quality is also impacting the color, the appearance, the storage, the shelf life, the processing quality, and there could be potential contamination and toxins. For example, here there is mycotoxins in cereals, especially aflatoxins in maize. How can we approach this? How can we try to solve this? Here you see a very long list that basically is 10 points. I don't want to go one by one, but this is coming from European community, okay? So basically, these are 10 adaptation measures. But if you see, these are adaptations that are good, but in a medium-long process. It takes time to do this. We should use adapted crops. Just guess how many here we need to have a new variety of cereals in the market. It's between 5-10 years. 5 if we are lucky, if we invest in R&D. But it's 5 years. We cannot continue in this way. And also we need to induce and promote the resilience on the crop, but also for our growers. We need to use cover crops, artificial soil covers, because if you remember the soil memory, that could be also important in the future. We need crop diversification, crop rotation, and for growers this is a challenge. They need to change the crops, trying to increase the number of crops they are cultivating. Good practice could be no tillage, minimum tillage. In Europe, honestly, we are not really at the same level than other countries, especially in US. We need to improve specific adaptation, timing, sowing, harvesting, depending on the climate change. But also we need precision farming. We need to improve the irrigation, also improving the organic farming approach. But what we can do now? What we can do immediately to protect, to mitigate the climate change? So basically, we have a technical tool that is the biostimulants that can impact and improve the climate resilience strategy. So biostimulants basically are microbes or organic compounds that are designed to resist to the main abiotic stress. That could be drought, could be salinity, different abiotic stress. And they work by improving the plant metabolism at molecular, biochemical, and physiological level. The biostimulants on the market are different. I'm working in this sector since I was really young, when I finished university. And basically when I started the biostimulant from the first level, then it's a second level of biostimulant. So the first level were basically raw materials, then vegetal extract, then adding specific metabolites that now is the state of the art in this sector. Biostimulants are applied in small amount. They can improve, optimize the efficiency of the chemical fertilizer, but also some specific crop protection. What is the technology? And now I'm landing, be patient with me. What is the technology that ICL has to create and produce the biostimulant? ICL has this innovative metabolite technology that is using the combination of microbials, metabolites, tailor-made for specific needs. So basically you can have different raw materials, but using the microbial approach, you can select, you can prepare some specific metabolites that will be useful for the different claims that you can have in the market. And here is let's say the pipeline that is available, the product list that is available on the market. So basically you can see, starting from the top, Adamite, Bio's Adamite, that is specific for the vegetative growth and increase the production. This product contains seaweed extract and specific amino acids using the metabolite technology. It's a foliar spray product. And then the second product in the order is SARD, that is a specific product, foliar application for abiotic stress and microelement supply. Then there is a third one, Garnet, that is specific for drought and heat stress. And then we move to the root system, so the soil application. We have Opal, that is specific for the nutrient retention in the soil and the nutrient use efficiency and the uptake of mineral element. Then we have Goldstone, that is root and plant growth promoter. Then we have Actirides, that is soil health, that is basically it's prebiotic and probiotic, because prebiotics is impacting the microbial population in the soil, but also probiotic because we are adding a specific Pseudomonas palmaris that is responsible also for phosphorus use efficiency. Then the last one is Ivory, that is against salinity. It contains calcium oxide and acid fulvic. So far we have these 7 products. There are other products cooking by R&D team in the pipeline. Technology is important. Product is important. But what is really fundamental is the vision of our company. The vision and the commitment to deal with the climate change, increasing the resilience. ICL is a global leader in sustainable innovation across agriculture, food, and industry sectors, guided by our pillars: ingenuity, care, and leadership. And we do believe that approaching this climate change with this vision, we can mitigate and we can succeed. ICL has a commitment to have a reduction of 30% of the gas by 2030. And ICL has a commitment to become carbon neutral by 2050. And here you can see the sustainability goal, that moving from greenhouse emission, green product, using renewable energy, improving the product carbon footprint, and so on. Looking ahead, we hope together we can cultivate resilience. Through innovation, collaboration, sustainable practice, the European agriculture sector can not only adapt to climate change, but lead, and I'm fully convinced about that, lead the way in building a greener and more secure future for all. And ICL is leading the way in climate-smart agriculture with innovative solutions such as plant biostimulant and metabolite technology, helping farmers to build resilience, again, the magic word today, to climate stress, promoting sustainability, biodiversity, and food security. I really like to close the presentation with quotations, and this is one of my favorite quotations. I don't know if you know Jane Goodall was an ethologist from UK, and she said that hope is not passive, it's the active conviction that we can make a difference.